It's Kathy Chenna here reporting for Tri-Cities Community TV in downtown Port Coquitlam at Lee Square. My guest today is going to talk about something that's been very topical, not only in the Tri-Cities, but specifically in Port Moody and Anmore. We have the president of the Strata Council with us today, Robert Boies. Thanks so much for being here. And I have been reading about this septic situation in the papers, in the Tri-City News, etc. And I want you to share with me what's going on. Give us some history, if you don't mind, because this just didn't happen last week or last year. So if you don't mind, give us some history on what's going on at Anmore Green, please.
Yeah. So I represent a community of 51 homes. We have a community septic system that was established 20 years ago. And really 20 years ago, there was a plan put in place that would see this community eventually hook up to the GBSDD sewer system. Mm-hmm. Throughout the history of this complex, really, the system has not operated efficiently. Originally, we were surrounded by trees. And over the last number of years, schools have developed around us. The hillsides have been cut back and literally made this septic field unusable. We are currently under one of the highest Ministry of Environment orders to basically fix the problem that cannot be fixed, nor a system or a situation that we created. The hillside cutbacks that allowed for the schools in the area, which they were on private property, we support the development of the schools. There's a sewer line 60 meters away, but currently as we sit here today, Kathy, if you can believe it, we have thousands and thousands of young students and recreational users in Port Moody and Anmore that are susceptible to extremely high counts of fecal coliform coming out of this system. A system that we're prepared to pay all costs for the repair, and we're being blocked by the Village of Anmore and the GBSDD. Right,
exactly. So last week there was a sort of a final plan that you needed to get in with the Ministry of Environment. Before we talk about that, I want to just sort of go back to the people and how are these 125 people that live in this area in the 51 homes, like how are they feeling about this? Like this is pretty disgusting and it's something that's not being dealt with properly, it sounds like. That's been my understanding. The City of Port Moody, they're more than happy to have you hook up to their side of things. I want you to get into that a little bit more and what that means. But how are these residents feeling? Can you speak about that?
So the residents are very, very concerned. Currently, under a Ministry of Environment Abatement Order, your homes, which, yes, many of them are valued over $1 million+ are unsellable. I receive phone calls or emails from my neighbors who are either in retirement age, have young children, moms or dads looking to go back to work. They want to get some equity out, maybe to put their children through university. They're not going to be able to do any of that under a Ministry of Environment Abatement Order. Fecal coliform counts have been found by the City of Port Moody and the school district since 2001. When Port Moody sold the lands to the school district within the purchase and sale agreement, stated that there's fecal coliform leachate coming from this field. Remember, we as a neighborhood have spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to try and repair a system that can't be repaired. The report that you mentioned that we've just filed with the MOE just this week actually clearly states we have a professional on the engineering side of this aspect that has 45 years experience in this industry. He works throughout the country. He has basically definitively told the MOE that that septic field cannot be permitted nor rebuilt under any circumstances. Remember, there's a sewer line 64 meters away that we're prepared to pay all costs to hook up to. No costs to any other municipality other than me and my 51 neighbors. And the Village of Anmore and the GBSD continues to block us. They continue to put 2,200 students and thousands of recreational users vulnerable to human waste.
So what's the holdup? Why is the Village of Anmore doing this? I mean, it sounds like it makes sense in terms of getting it done. Port Moody's on side, Anmore's not on side. Why do you think there's this resistance, Robert?
I'd hate to speculate. Frankly, the Village of Anmore has been not available to us to communicate on this issue. They've not once asked to see our records of repair, of maintenance. We have professionals that we pay every single month that are on 24/7 call to monitor this system. We have to have regular pump outs. So our human waste is being pumped out of that system every 3 weeks, yes, at our cost, and put in the GBSDD system anyways. The Village of Anmore 20 years ago, when this municipality, or rather this subdivision was developed, allowed a plan in place that that septic field could be redeveloped. when it was hooked up to sewer. A number of years ago, it was upzoned, not by us, the residents, but by the municipality.
Right.
This current administration has chosen to be obstructionist. They have chosen to ignore our issue, and to this day, they have not reached out once to confirm records. They continue to put misinformation out in the media and social media, and once again, they have not really stepped up to the plate to try and help us with this issue.
Right, so what are the next steps then? What's going to happen?
We filed the abatement order. It's very clear. There is no fix for this other than a sewer connection.
Right.
GBSDD says that Anmore must become a member of the GBSDD. All of Anmore is on septic.
Does that cost them money to become a member?
It can, yes. But look, I know of, confirmed by MOE, that there are other systems in the village of Anmore that are also failing. There is a need for a plan at a minimum. I understand as of today that GBSDD has done studies. We know where the lift stations need to go. But you know what? Immediately, we have a health and safety issue that affects 2,200 children and hundreds or thousands of users of the public fields below us.
So have people been writing letters to the village of Anmore? Like what can we do to wake them up?
Unfortunately, the village of Anmore continues to put out stories that are not factual. They would tell you that this is all about real estate development. Once again, this is not about real estate development. We have managed this for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It can't be fixed. This is a health and safety issue. The GBSDD updated their policies in 2017. And one of the policy amendments that they made was that under health and safety concerns, they can request a hookup to their system. Port Moody has confirmed, we've all seen the letter, it was sent to me, that there is capacity there. The school district, unfortunately, who really is responsible for the children, has not been an excellent partner on this either. They have also charged us $11,000 to access their property to do testing and put up abatement fencing and signage.
Right.
And frankly, we need someone to lean in and take this serious as we are, because this is only about one thing. This is about health and safety of the children in the area and the recreational users of those fields.
And we don't know if this fecal matter is human or animal, correct?
Quite frankly, we submitted the testing, 160,000 parts per was found. We sent that to the Ministry of Environment.
Yes.
They said absolutely there is no other reason for that to be there than human waste.
Right.
Okay, it was not bears pooping in the woods.
Exactly, especially at that level.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just quickly have a look here. If we could just sort of zoom in. Can you just give us just a lay of the land? We've got school district property over here. Where's the fencing, and where's your Anmore Green
Currently,
area?
there's 51 residents in this area
Okay.
here. These are the septic fields, drainage fields, and septic plant. This is Eagle Mountain Middle School. Keep in mind, Eagle Mountain Middle School is hooked up to sewer, and it's in the village of Anmore.
Right.
They made an exemption because when they studied it, they found that the soils were not capable of treating human waste. They also found it to be a health hazard, and they also believed that the best method was for this school in the village of Anmore to be hooked up to sewer. So there is a sewer line in the village of Anmore. There's a hookup right there that we could hook up to. This is Heritage Mountain Middle School and the playing fields. Most of the high fecal coliform was found around these cut banks.
Okay.
So we used to have a 10% grade in there. When they brought the schools in, many of these cut banks are now 50% grades. They completely neutered the septic field.
Is there anything else you want our viewers to know, Robert? What can we be doing to changing their minds, or possibly having them, come to the table with a solution? It sounds like there is a solution, but they don't want to bend their way.
Correct. This is what I'd ask you. Contact your local MLA. They're informed. I've spoke with them directly. Contact the Metro Board Chair, Greg Moore. He and I have looked at solutions. I believed I had solutions worked out with Greg. Unfortunately, the mayor of Anmore, through really fake news, stopped any progress that we were making. Port Moody so far appears to be a pretty good partner and wants, Mike Clay has told me directly, they want the problem cleaned up.
They do.
So contact your local MLA, contact your local newspaper, support on social media. There's been a number of individuals that, quite frankly, prefer to perpetuate the fake news that is out there rather than look for solutions. I treat my neighbor this way. You can always come to my house, and I'm also a Port Moody resident. Yes, that is a rental property. That was my first property that I ever owned as a young man that I bought in Anmore. I have a nice family renting in there, but I'm also a Port Moody taxpayer. And you can come to my house anytime and borrow a cup of sugar. If you have a problem, you're locked out of your place, and you need to go to the bathroom, come and knock on my door. You're going to be able to do that. I would never treat my neighbors the way I find that many people in social media have been treating myself and my fellow neighbors.
Well, definitely not a sexy topic to be talking about septic, sewage systems, et cetera, but definitely a situation that needs to be dealt with for these families, these children, all up in the village of Anmore. We do have Port Moody helping out, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the resolution on this is. My name's Kathy Chena. I'm with Tri-Cities Community TV. Thanks for watching.